ass kid off the video games. They need to get out there and interact with the real world, or this, unfortunately, this story is going to become a little bit more pervasive.
Tom, I'm going to come to you as a parent. As a parent, I got boys and girls. You got girls.
Yep.
So as a parent, how do you process this?
Well, first of all, I was waiting for Eric Schmidt to say, as happens on Facebook. He didn't add that, and because he's former CEO of Google, from down the street, he could have thrown some shade right there with those three little words, as on Facebook. And so I get to that as a parent. You have to pull your kids back from the digital fake into the physical real. And the physical real is talking eye to eye, looking people in the eye, talking to people in your study group. I talked to Bailey about this, right? And I've talked to Brooke about this. It's like, hey, all the social media online is fake affirmation. It's fake. It's not real. Your real engagement is with your teammates on your swim team, your teammates on your golf team, teammates working on yearbook. And you're going to find people that have things going on. You'll be able to look them in the eye and you'll be able to engage with them. And I have been putting digital guardrails around my daughters for a long time. And I think now they see it playing out because they see friends at school where it is on the other edge. And as a parent, if you're not involved and you're not focused, you're in trouble. And you know where it starts, parents? It starts with your patience, because you're losing patience and you're stressed because your kid's crying and doing the things at 5 years old. So you give them a mini game to play. You're giving them a pacifier. And maybe they do need a little distraction there, but you better manage it, because that big pacifier when they're 12, 13 years old is social media, and it's toxic and deadly.
By the way, if I can advise anybody that's watching this here, one of the things that I think a lot of time when people think about Tom, they think about, how can I raise money? How can I business, all this, biz doc. Why don't you and your wife connect Tom and ask questions about parenting? This is one of the conversations we have all the time. We, Tom and I, and our family, we made certain new decisions a few months ago. I would say 6 months ago, collectively together.
We read a book. We're open to ideas that are good.
Yeah, we are on the same wavelength when it comes down to raising kids, where if Tom takes my Tico or Dylan or whatever, they go together for 3-4 days, I'm not even thinking about what they're doing. They're in good hands, right? Because I know our values and principles are the same. I had this girl here the other day, Layla Mickelweight. Rob, did I say her name correctly?
Correct.
Phenomenal. I had such a good time talking to her. She's the one that got the 2.33 million signatures to petition to shut down Pornhub.com because of the amount of porn that they had underage. Out of 56 million videos they had on Pornhub.com, a story that came up, that's her, by the way, Layla Mickelweight, phenomenal lady. And if you can pull up that New York Times story, the other New York Times story that we talked about, by the way, very, very weird New York Times story, a child of Pornhub. This is the children of Pornhub telling stories of how these kids end up in Pornhub. One mother, Rob, do you have the intro for the interview tomorrow? Maybe we can even show the intro. You have the intro. They send it to you. It's on our text.
Yep, I got it.
If you can pull it up. The intro, Vinny, is disturbing. One of the top things that we discussed, her and I together, is the fear parents have to have serious conversations with their kids. And I brought up a couple things with her. One of the things is, about a year ago, I don't know if you guys remember, we talked about this. Maybe we talked about one of my kids was a little bit drifting. And I had a conversation with him one morning, and I pulled him aside. Maybe you'll remember this. I don't want to name kids, so don't drop any names and all this other stuff. I'm just saying, one of my kids. And I said, hey, I'm getting the feeling you're drifting a little bit. And we sat down and we had a 1-hour meeting together. And by the way, when you want to have serious conversations with your kids, if you're intentional, they're going to give you 100% attention. This guy's looking at me fully. And
what does drifting mean?
Humberto, if you can send a video to Rob, it's not going to be here, Rob. It's in a text. We have it. It's an intro that was sent to approve. Humberto can send it to you. So I said, you're drifting. He says, what's drifting? So I said, let me show you this clip from the book. What is the book? What is the book? What is the book? A drifting book by that lady. Oh my God, what is this book called? First time I read this book, I couldn't put it down. Book on drifting. It's a book that's linked to Napoleon Hill, who wrote it many, many years ago. And she explains this book. Somebody, can you please just text me if you're watching this? I know somebody's watching the same. Pat, how'd you forget this book? You know what book it is. I tell him, I want you, Outwitting the Devil. That's the one. Outwitting the Devil. And I had him read this book, and I had him read an excerpt from this book. Okay. And in the book, it explains, you want to destroy your life? You have to be aware when you're drifting. And what is drifting? Drifting is just like when your life, you're just kind of like drifting.
Like a car going off the road. You slowly start going,
you die, right? So I said, I'm getting the feeling life is just regular for you. And you're not investing in yourself in certain things that you need to be. You know what's one of the things that really changes? You know how you go up to him, you're like, hey, something's happened with you? We put him in kickboxing. And he goes 5 days a week. He'd go every day if the trainers were available for him. Let me tell you what's happened to this kid's confidence. When you have boys, folks, you have to find a way to develop their confidence in a different way than girls. My opinion. It's a different way of developing confidence with boys than girls. Both of them are going to be needed. And if you choose to have more than one kid, you have to still find a way to build up their identities. They all deserve the identity to be built. Even when you're like, sometimes you don't have time or whatever that's going on, you have to find a way to do it. Find a way to get your kids to be involved in something that they're improving in that gives them confidence. You got to find a way to do that. You know when you're all of a sudden being complimented for the work that you're doing? It's a confidence booster. The other day, we publicly promoted Rob. We think Rob's done such a phenomenal job here that we publicly promoted him. And by the way, Rob is a guy that, is a behind a screen guy sometimes, but unusual. He's not. Rob's a talent. Rob's a comedian. Rob's phenomenal at what he does as well. And we love Rob. And we publicly recognize Rob. And for the last, Rob, 3.5 years, when I'm giving you feedback, I'm like, hey, something's happened with you. You're developing yourself. You're recreating yourself. And it's highlighting because it's very different than when it was 3.5 years ago. You're like, I don't know what's going on here. You're a different human being today than you were 3.5 years ago. And the more I learn about this guy, the more I love this guy. I like what he's doing to improve himself as a father, as a husband, as a man. You should see how he is with his kids. He's like, he's on a call and boom, let me step. I got to do this. Hey, with his wife, it's okay. We're going to do this. This is good. Like, these are things that it matters. Stuff that matters in life. Kids matter. Family matters. Friends matter. Like, you pour into it a little bit. Well, we got to pay attention. But sometimes we as parents are drifting. I got my promotion. I got my this. Dude, pump the brakes. Go have a conversation with your kid. Walk with them for an hour. How you doing? What's happening? Let me tell you what I'm thinking about you. Here's how I envision you being one day, kid. I think one day you can be ... Really, daddy? Really, mommy? Yes. But I also think I'm noticing some things you're not paying attention to. You eat too much sweets. You sleeping too much. You're not exercising. You're not moving your body. You're addicted to video games. How about we get addicted to your dreams? How about you have these types of conversations with them? This is the clip with Layla Mickelwaite. This comes out tomorrow, by the way. It's a disturbing. Vinny, just watch this. You'll feel how disturbing it is in the first 20 seconds.
Okay, and you said out of 58 million viewers,
56 million videos. That was on Pornhub. 91% of it they took down.
What?
Because of that New York Times article and because of this lady that got the 2.3 million petitions.
Wow.
Watch this clip right here. Go ahead.
From Broward County, Florida. She was missing for an entire year, and she was finally found when her distraught mother was tipped off by a Pornhub user that he recognized her daughter on the site. She was found in 58 videos on Pornhub. So this is us emails from the CEO. Can we tell MasterCard that it just slipped through the cracks? They want to know what we do.
Oh, they're communicating amongst each other as employees.
They're saying, what should we do? She couldn't be older than 13 or 14, and the video was obvious. And they left it up.
Under new ownership or old ownership?
This is the old ownership, but old ownership is the same VPs and executives that are there today, right? But there's not enforcement. Why are they not being
held accountable?
There's not enforcement.
I don't get that, though. Who wouldn't enforce that law? It's kids.
I want to address something that Solomon and his partner said on this show. I mean, you could play what he actually said. It's a complete lie. They exploit and they harvest the data of every single user that visits their site. They're currently being sued in a class action, and I think we will see full criminal prosecution of the owners of Pornhub, and I hope that we do.
Okay, so this goes out tomorrow.
Wow.
You know how many kids have been missing according to FBI? You know how many children are missing in America according to FBI?
Overall.
First of all, 2022 records. Rob, don't look at the screen. Just look at me.
2022.
How many children you think are missing? Tom, everybody, think number and then tell me. Okay. Children missing that are still missing. And it's not a big number that you think it's a big number.
250,000.
What do you think the number is?
That's an insane number. 10,000.
Okay, Tom, what do you think the number is?
I thought it was 30,000.
Rob, can you pull up that? You're about to be shocked. There's 359 missing children.
Wow, missing.
359,094 missing children. Every one of them counts.
What?
Reported to the National Crime Information Center.
Reported too.
When he said 250, I thought
by the
that was
way,
an insane
you
number.
said 20,000. That's 22,000 more than it was in 2021. Bro, like, how
missing?
What are we not? Think about these parents that are missing. I mean, this is serious stuff here that we're talking about. So for me, parents, we need to be a little bit more involved. You got a nephew, you got a niece, you got to develop some of their identities to make sure you're having these tough conversations with them when it's necessary. But for me, when Eric Schmidt is telling this story, as much as we have fun here, guys, and we joke around, we do certain, at the core of what we're doing, there's values and principles that matter that you got to stand up for. These are some of these conversations that we're having right now, because I think sometimes parents, we all need a nudge, all of us do, to just kind of be reminded of it. Maybe use today on Thanksgiving to have a conversation with them. Maybe this is a great opportunity today. Maybe today, tomorrow, if you're not working, pull them aside. Go for a walk with them. Do it individually with each one of them. And take them for somewhere and sit down and say, I want to talk to you, son. I want to talk to you, baby. What's going on, Pops? What's this? It's going to be a little bit weird if it's not regularly happening. And before you do, make a few notes of what your outcome of this meeting with them is. It's going to be different for your daughter than your son, than your oldest, than your youngest. But the fact that you have their conversation with them one-on-one and you give them that one-on-one attention, I can't tell you what it does to them. You remember when your parents did it to you. We remember when they did it that one time. I was 6, 7 years old. My mom would tell me, you're going to be an incredible engineer one day. Engineer? You're going to be, who the hell? Like, I'm 7 years old. I'm remembering that. Have that conversation with them. My dad would say, son, the reason why you're going to be a leader one day is because you're not afraid of the truth. One time my dad and I went to this, what do you call it, spa in Iran that they had pool and all this other stuff that we would go there and they would make this drink, Persian drink that I freaking love. Dude. It's not dough. It's like water with these, my dad knows what it is. This fruit stuff that they put in, it's just incredible with lemon and all this stuff. I love it. And we'd go there and the guy says, how old is your son? And my dad says, they're friends. He says, my son is 14 years old. I said, I'm not 14 years old. My dad's lying to you. I'm 8 years old. And he says, really? He says, yeah, because this place is 12 and up. He says, well, listen, since your father, I like the fact that you're honest, come in. And he let me in. He says, the reason why you're going to be a leader one day is you're not afraid of the truth. You'll tell the truth. You get in trouble sometime, but you'll tell the truth. That stays with you at 8 years old. Yeah. I'm 46. That's 38 years ago. We can do that for our kids, folks. you and I can do that for our kids. Use today as the opportunity this weekend to have that conversation. And do me a favor, share it with me. I want to hear about it. You have no idea how much I love hearing stories like this. And when you have that conversation, you can get a hold of us on Monect or tweet and do whatever.